The person you keep thinking about truly does care for you. Even if things between you feel confusing, uncertain, or emotionally heavy right now, there is still a deeper reason why this person keeps showing up in your thoughts again and again. It is not random. It is not just because you are lonely, bored, or emotionally vulnerable at this moment in life. Something meaningful is still keeping this connection alive within your inner world and your everyday feelings. This person appears in your mind for a clear reason. Even when you are not trying to think about them, they still arrive during quiet moments when everything around you becomes still and your mind relaxes. They come in those small gaps between thoughts, or in the moments just before sleep when your awareness is soft and unguarded. Sometimes they show up suddenly in the middle of a normal day, while you are doing completely ordinary things. You could be working, talking to someone, laughing with friends, or simply feeling calm, and then, without warning, their image appears in your mind. Their voice, their smile, or a memory connected to them rises up naturally without you forcing it. It feels effortless, like it happens on its own. You may have tried to push these thoughts away many times. You may have told yourself that you should move on, that thinking about them no longer helps you, or that it only brings confusion. You may have reminded yourself of the distance, the silence, or the uncertainty that exists between you. At times, you may have even doubted your own feelings and questioned whether you are holding on to something real or just creating meaning out of emotion. Still, even with all that effort, they return to your thoughts. Even when you feel like you have made peace with it, they quietly reappear. This does not mean something is wrong with you. It does not mean you are stuck or unable to move forward. It simply suggests that something emotional between you has not fully settled yet. Something in your shared experience still carries emotional weight, whether spoken or unspoken. Connections like this are not formed only through logic or conscious choice. They are created in deeper emotional layers where memory, feeling, and meaning combine over time. When someone keeps appearing in your thoughts without effort, it often means there is still emotional energy that has not been fully processed. Something may have been felt deeply, even if it was never clearly expressed in words. Something may have been shared between you, even if it was never fully defined. This person may also be thinking about you in their own way, even if they are not reaching out or speaking about it. Not all thoughts become messages, and not all emotions turn into actions. Many people carry feelings silently because they are unsure how to deal with them or because circumstances make expression difficult. They may feel fear, confusion, pressure, or emotional conflict, and so they keep everything inside. That silence does not always mean a lack of feeling. It often means the feeling exists, but is not being expressed outwardly. You might sense this connection in unexpected moments during your day. You might feel sudden waves of emotion like warmth, sadness, or longing without a clear reason. You might feel their presence emotionally even when there is distance between you. This is not simply imagination. Strong emotional bonds can operate beneath conscious awareness in ways that are not easy to explain. They do not always follow logic or timelines. They exist quietly in the background of your thoughts and feelings, shaping how you experience certain moments. You are not weak for feeling this. You are human. Deep emotional attachment does not disappear just because you decide it should. The heart does not switch off instantly because the mind wants clarity. When something meaningful has touched you deeply, it leaves an imprint inside you. And that imprint stays until it is understood, healed, or transformed over time. This does not mean you should wait endlessly or ignore your own growth. It only means that what you felt was real and significant in your life experience. Confusion does not cancel emotion. Silence does not erase connection. Distance does not always mean absence of feeling. Sometimes distance comes from fear, uncertainty, or internal struggle on the other side. You may never receive clear answers from this person, or maybe one day you will. But either way, your experience is still valid. Your thoughts are not meaningless. Your emotions are not random. They are part of something that affected you deeply and shaped your inner world in some way. If this person continues to appear in your thoughts, it is because something within that connection has not fully closed. That does not mean it must continue forever in the same form. It only means it mattered. And things that matter often take time to settle within the heart. Be gentle with yourself during this process. There is no need to judge your thoughts or rush your emotions into disappearing. Understanding often comes slowly, in its own time. Sometimes a connection is not meant to last forever, but to change you, teach you something, or help you understand your emotional depth more clearly. Even in silence and confusion, the meaning of what you felt does not disappear. When someone remains in your thoughts consistently over time, it usually shows that the emotional bond still feels active within you, even if life circumstances have changed, even if communication has stopped, even if time has passed longer than expected. Your mind is not holding on without reason. It is responding to something that still feels unfinished internally. Human beings are naturally drawn to what feels unresolved. We are not disturbed by what is complete, but by what remains open and uncertain. You may notice that you think of them during moments of joy, wanting to share good news. You may feel like telling them about small things in your day, even simple moments that feel meaningful to you. You may wonder how they are doing, even when your own life is full of other things. Sometimes the connection feels like a pull that goes beyond physical presence. It feels emotional, almost like an inner awareness of them. This can happen when two people have formed a strong emotional imprint on each other, even if they are not in contact anymore. Many people do not realize that emotional bonds do not simply disappear when communication stops. Silence does not erase connection. Distance does not cancel emotional history. When something meaningful is formed between two people, it leaves an imprint that can stay active in memory and emotion. If you are still thinking about them, it may be because some part of you feels the story is not fully finished. That also explains why it feels unclear or emotionally complex. Simple connections tend to settle easily. More intense or meaningful ones often exist between clarity and confusion, between desire and uncertainty. Fear can also play a role in this. One or both people may feel afraid of vulnerability, afraid of being hurt, or afraid of repeating past emotional pain. Fear does not remove feelings. It only delays expression and creates distance where closeness could exist. You may wonder why they have not acted, or why they have not reached out. But emotional reality is not always simple. People often feel deeply, but struggle to express it. Some carry emotional wounds from the past. Some feel unready. Some feel conflicted between what they want and what they think is possible. This is why thoughts return in quiet moments. When the mind is still, emotions that were pushed aside can surface again. At night, when distractions fade, the inner world becomes louder. During calm moments in the day, the same thing can happen without warning. If you feel drawn to respond or reflect, you might notice that these thoughts arise from a deeper emotional place. They are not always intentional. They often come from layers of memory and feeling that operate below conscious control. There is also another layer to this experience. When you think of this person, you are not only remembering them, you are also remembering who you were when you felt close to them. You are reconnecting with a version of yourself that existed during that emotional time. Certain people awaken parts of us that stayed dormant within us before. They reflect something back to us that feels familiar, meaningful, or truly alive on the inside. When access to that reflection is gone, it can feel like you are losing a part of yourself for a while. This is why the sense of longing, feels deeper than simple attraction alone. Distance between two people who care for each other often exists not because love is missing, but because timing, fear, or inner conflict is standing in the way for now. You may feel that something is blocking both of you from moving closer. That feeling is often accurate and worth paying attention to. When emotions stay active without resolution, the mind keeps the connection alive until it finds understanding or closure. You might also experience emotional confusion at times. One day you feel strong and detached, and the next day, a small reminder brings everything rushing back. This shift is normal and part of the process. It shows that your logical mind is trying to protect you, while your emotional side is still connected underneath. These two parts of you do not always agree with each other. Healing does not mean forcing yourself to forget everything completely. It means understanding why the bond exists and what it is asking from you at this stage. Sometimes the connection remains because there is a lesson inside it. Sometimes it remains because communication is not yet complete. And sometimes it remains because both people are slowly growing toward the same emotional truth, even if the timing is not aligned. Emotional timing in life is rarely perfectly matched. If you feel that they love you but stay distant, it is likely because they are dealing with an inner struggle of their own. They may feel the same pull toward you that you feel toward them. They may think about you more than you realize. They may wonder if you still care deeply for them too. But instead of moving closer, they hesitate because of many internal reasons. This hesitation often comes from fear of loss, fear of rejection, or fear of changing their current life too quickly. Love does not always express itself through loud gestures. Sometimes it hides in silence and careful behavior. Sometimes it waits for the right moment. Sometimes it stays quiet, hoping for a safe time to move forward without risk. The absence of action does not always mean the absence of feeling. What matters right now is not trying to control the final outcome. It is understanding what this connection is teaching you about yourself and your growth. It may be teaching patience. It may be teaching self-respect and inner strength. It may be asking you to stop chasing and start trusting the process. Or it may be preparing you for clarity when the time becomes right. Whether that clarity comes through reunion or gentle release, you are not foolish for feeling this way. You are not weak for thinking about them often. You are responding to a bond that exists beyond surface logic and simple explanations. The mind tries to explain it away with reasons, but the heart recognizes it instantly as something real. When something truly matters, it does not disappear easily. If they love you and distance remains for now, then time and inner growth are working quietly behind the scenes in both of you. Connections like this often move slowly because they carry depth and meaning. Depth requires readiness, and readiness cannot be rushed. Allow your thoughts to pass without harsh judgment toward yourself. Do not force extra meaning onto them, but also do not dismiss them without reflection. Pay attention to how you feel when these thoughts appear, whether it is calmness, warmth, sadness, longing, or hope, because each emotion carries information. Your emotions are speaking clearly in these moments. Remember this important truth. What is meant for you does not require constant struggle or pain. It may require patience, but it will not demand that you abandon yourself or your needs. Whether this connection becomes something real or slowly fades with time, it is shaping you in ways you may not fully understand yet. And if one day the distance closes naturally, it will be because both of you are finally ready to meet without fear in the way. Until then, trust that what you are feeling has meaning, even if that meaning is not fully clear right now. When you think about someone again and again, when their presence stays in your mind from morning to night, there is often a quiet connection happening beneath everyday life. Many times they are thinking about you too, even if they never say it out loud or fully admit it to themselves. Yes, they love you, even if those words have never been spoken between you. Love does not always appear in obvious ways that everyone can clearly see. It does not always show up as bold actions or confident decisions. Sometimes love appears in silence and patience. Sometimes it shows itself through waiting for better timing. Sometimes it shows through careful restraint to protect what feels important. The person you cannot stop thinking about may feel a very deep love for you. That love may be strong, heavy, and constant within them. But love does not always mean they are ready to act immediately. Readiness and love are not the same thing in every situation. Someone can love you deeply and still feel unable to move closer at this moment for personal reasons. They may feel unworthy of you, as if you are too good or too complete for them right now. They may be afraid of hurting you because they understand how fragile the connection feels. They may believe the timing is wrong or that life is too complicated at the moment. They may carry old emotional wounds that were never fully healed. Pain from past relationships, disappointments, or losses may still live inside them and influence their choices. They may fear that getting closer could lead to losing you in some way. So instead of moving toward you, they hold back. Instead of reaching out, they hesitate carefully. Instead of expressing their feelings, they keep them inside to feel safe. This is not because they feel less for you. It is because they feel too much, and it overwhelms them. When feelings are shallow, people act quickly. When feelings are light, people take risks easily. But when love runs deep, people become cautious. Fear begins to whisper questions into their mind and shapes their decisions. When love is casual, people move freely without overthinking. They speak without fear. They act without worrying too much. But when love feels meaningful and life-changing, people slow down naturally. They become aware of consequences, responsibility, and emotional risk. They start protecting not only themselves, but also the person they care about. Many people wonder why distance can exist even when love is strong. This distance is not caused by lack of feeling. It is caused by an internal struggle. One side of them feels drawn to you, while the other side feels fear, doubt, and pressure pulling away. These opposing emotions create tension inside them. They may constantly ask themselves difficult questions about the future. What if I cannot give them what they deserve? What if I hurt them? What if I ruin something beautiful? What if I am not healed enough yet? What if my past problems follow me into this connection? What if getting closer makes everything worse instead of better? What if I lose control of my emotions? What if I lose them completely because of my fears? These questions do not come from lack of care. They come from caring too deeply. So they choose distance as a form of protection for now. Not protection from you, but protection from their own emotions. They step back not because they do not want you, but because they are overwhelmed by how much they do want you. Sometimes distance is the only way they know how to handle feelings that feel too big. They may not have learned how to love without fear taking over. They may not trust themselves fully with something so important. Silence can feel safer than vulnerability. Distance can feel safer than closeness when emotions are intense. This kind of love can feel confusing for the person waiting on the other side. It can make you question your own feelings and wonder if it is real or imagined. But real love does not always appear in perfect forms. Sometimes it looks uncertain, slow, and afraid. Sometimes it hides behind logic and practical excuses. Sometimes it chooses waiting instead of action. The person who loves you deeply but stays distant often feels torn every day. They think about you in the morning and at night. Your name appears in their thoughts during quiet moments. They replay conversations. They imagine possibilities. Then fear pulls them back into caution again. This back and forth can be exhausting inside them, even if you never see it. They may believe they need to become better, stronger, or more stable before they can love properly. They may think you deserve someone more ready for a healthy relationship, so they step aside, believing distance protects both of you. But love that is held back does not disappear. It stays alive quietly. It continues to exist even in silence. Even in distance, it remains meaningful. Love does not always look like constant contact. Sometimes it looks like restraint and inner struggle, while still holding someone deeply in the heart. If you feel this connection strongly, it is not imagination. Real emotional bonds can exist through intuition, energy, and feeling that go beyond visible actions. This distance does not mean absence of love, but that their courage has not yet caught up with their emotions. Over time, fear can soften and healing can happen naturally. Until then, distance acts as their emotional protection, a pause to breathe when feelings feel overwhelming. For you, that distance may feel very heavy because you feel emotions deeply. Silence is not empty to you. You feel it in your thoughts, your body, and in the way your mind keeps returning to the same person again and again. You notice small shifts from warmth to caution. Yet strong connections often move through long silence, not because they are broken, but because they are still forming. Some bonds are too deep to disappear easily. They stretch across time, waiting for clarity instead of immediate answers. There is an unspoken bond that remains alive even without constant messages, where even a simple reminder or name can stir something inside you. If this touched you deeply, you already know what it feels like.